talking about engaging undergraduates. Can you tell us about yourself and the ways you engage undergrads?
Absolutely. So I'm Jaya Davis. I am in the Department of Criminology and Criminal Justice in the College of Liberal Arts. And I have been doing service learning to engage my undergraduates for 5 years. So I started my first year working at UTA, and it was a little bit of feeling it out as I went. But there's a lot of research that shows that many of our students don't have the opportunity to have a direct experience with outside of the classroom. And we often think of internships, practicums, and field placements as that area in which they will be able to get that exposure. But those specific experiences are really designed to help students move into the job market. And so that the job market can really kind of look at them before they come in, and they can get an idea of what they might be doing as far as their profession. But that's not necessarily where our students can get that real-world experience in a variety of classes or courses. So in my classes, I've offered service learning over 2 courses, and to be able to broaden that real-world experience to as many students as possible. And the research really shows that often students not only don't get that real-world experience, but especially students that are considered the underserved population. So our minority students, particularly across the country, aren't as exposed to those opportunities. And there's also research that shows that students who do get that active learning or service learning opportunity are more likely to stay in class and more likely to graduate. So specifically at UTA, being a Hispanic serving institution and the 5th diverse public university, then we have a great opportunity to bring that experience to as many students as possible. So, and that has been reflected in my classes, where the majority of the students that engage in service learning, because it is an option in my classes, you don't have to do a service learning project, have been reflective of the overall demographics of the university and being minority students. So those experiences have included working, because I'm in criminology and criminal justice, I wanted to give my students exposure to working with the populations now that likely they will be working with when they are in their field. So not necessarily to understand from the organizational or agency perspective, but to get real-world interaction to bridge the gap between who they think are offenders and who actually are the people that they are going to be working with in the population. So in institutional corrections, for example, I partnered with Texas Department of Criminal Justice, and in that course, the students visit parolees that are in nursing facilities. So we have medical parole in Texas, which unfortunately doesn't include a lot of people, but we do have a number of nursing facilities throughout the DFW area who have committed to accept medical parolees. And so by working with the human resources director that works with medical parolees, we were able to match students with facilities where they could go visit these parolees. And so the goals for this project were specifically to look at, how negative decisions that people have made in their young life affect them long term, how our growing prison population, and especially our growing prison population in our geriatric community, how that not only impacts from a cost perspective, but also when people are in their last stages of life, reflecting back upon their own actions and how the criminal justice system has grown to give students a perspective of policy, but also a perspective of, this person is not that much different from my grandfather or my grandmother. Yes, they've made some sometimes very terrible choices, but in the end they are humans, and how do I interact with someone that is not so different from me? So that has been very positive. I have gotten positive reactions and reflections from those students who, even last semester, a student who had been in my course 2 years ago was still emailing me to let me know that she still visits her group of parolees.
Oh, wow.
Those, I think one of them has passed away, but she ended up adopting
That's powerful.
about 3 or 4 parolees that she
Wow.
visits on a regular basis, and she does holidays with them, and
It stayed with that relationship.
she stayed with that
persisted.
relationship, and
Ah.
she's moved on. She's working in adult probation right now. She's graduating and working in adult probation, but it was something that had made an impact on her, and so she still
Great.
goes to
I like
visit
when the
them.
learning extends beyond the course.
Absolutely, and that is something I think that service learning brings to our students. Not only does it reinforce those concepts that we are teaching in the class and gives them a perspective that they're just not going to get from lecture or reading their text, but it helps them critically assess their worldviews, and then it extends beyond the semester. So even if they're not continuing to visit those people that they made a relationship with, they at least have a different perspective, and they're critically thinking about, maybe what I thought about my perspective before wasn't so accurate, and they have a better understanding.
That's great. Anything else you want to add?
I think that it is a powerful experience for our students. I think that it is a lot of work for the faculty member that takes it on, but in the long run, if you can, combine that work with the positive experiences that the students most likely are going to achieve, as well as being able to, partner it with some research, it is more than valuable for the faculty member as well as the students.
Getting beyond the text.
Exactly.
Okay, good. Thank you.
You're welcome.